Lift your arms up high. Don't move. 6 words. Ingrid's blood freezes, not from the Belgian winter cutting through the wooden walls, from what those words mean. Every woman in the barracks knows what comes next. The propaganda trained them for this moment. But wait, the soldier isn't stepping closer. He's holding something, not a weapon, something else. She can't see it clearly in the dawn light. 400 German women in American custody by January 1945. Out of 500,000 POWs, only 400 are female. Ingrid is one of them. So is Renata, 19, standing beside her. And Dorothea, 31, near the back wall, still wearing her BDM pin like armor against reality. Die Amerikaner sind Tiere. Wenn sie dich nehmen, nehmen sie alles. The Americans are animals. When they take you, they take everything. That's what the training officer said. That's what Ingrid whispered to herself during the march here. That's what every woman in this room believes in her bones. So, why isn't he moving? Corporal Brennan, 26, Medical Corps. He lost his younger brother to typhus in an Italian field hospital 8 months ago. Watched him die over 11 days. Watched the fever eat his mind first, then his body. The Army trained Brennan to prevent that. One louse can carry 100,000 typhus bacteria. One louse can kill 100 soldiers. He's holding a flashlight. That's what Ingrid couldn't see. The beam clicks on. Cold white light sweeps across the barracks. Brennan's partner, a kid named Walsh, who's maybe 20, stands by the door, shivering. His breath fogs the air between them. Arms up, don't move. Brennan says it again, softer this time, like he knows what they're thinking. Renate starts crying, silent tears cutting tracks through the dirt on her face. Her arms shake above her head. 3 days in the same uniform, 200 miles of walking before capture, glass embedded in her left foot from a bombed road outside Aachen. Ingrid's heart hammers against her ribs. She watches Brennan approach the first woman in line, watches him raise the flashlight. This is it. This is where the propaganda becomes real. He doesn't touch her. He shines the light at her hairline, moves it slowly, checking something, looking for something. Then he steps back, nods at Walsh, moves to the next woman. What the hell is happening? Brennan reaches Ingrid. The flashlight beam burns against her eyelids. The beam traces her scalp. Ingrid holds her breath, counts heartbeats. 1, 2, 3. He's looking at her hair, not her body. Her hair. Clear. 1 word. Brennan moves on. The flashlight finds Renate's trembling head next. Ingrid's arms stay up. Nobody said she could lower them. The muscles in her shoulders burn. She doesn't care. She's trying to understand something that makes no sense. Typhus killed 3 million Europeans between 1941 and 1945. 3 million. And it starts with lice. 1 louse in your hairline, 1 louse in your armpit. 1 louse in the seams of your clothes. That's all it takes. The U.S. Army processes 12,000 POWs daily through delousing stations. They've perfected the system. Flashlight inspection first, chemical treatment second. DDT powder reduces lice infestation by 99.7% within 48 hours. Brennan doesn't explain any of this. He doesn't have to. He just keeps moving down the line. Warum berühren Sie uns nicht? Was wollen Sie wirklich? Why aren't they touching us? What do they really want? Dorothea hasn't lowered her arms either, but her eyes are narrowed, watching, calculating. 31 years of believing has built walls in her mind that 1 flashlight can't penetrate. She's waiting for the trick, the trap, the moment the propaganda proves right. Private Hoffman enters through the back door. 23 Polish-American, parents fled Krakow in 1938. He carries a metal canister with a spray nozzle attached. The chemical smell hits Ingrid's nose before he's halfway across the room. DDT. She doesn't know what it's called. She only knows it smells like hospitals and burning plastic and something almost sweet underneath. Brennan finishes his inspection. 40 women, all clear. No visible infestation. He nods at Hoffman. Standard protocol. Explain first. Hoffman clears his throat. When he speaks German, his accent cuts wrong on certain syllables, but the words are clear enough. This powder kills lice. It prevents typhus. We will apply it to your hair and clothing. It does not hurt. You will not undress. Silence. The women stare at him. Some don't believe him. Some don't understand him. Some are still waiting for the other boot to drop. Renate's crying has stopped. Her arms are shaking so badly she can barely keep them raised. Hoffman approaches the first woman, raises the canister. The spray hisses. Dorothea's voice cuts through the room like a blade. 9. One word. Every head turns. Brennan's hand moves toward his sidearm. Brennan's fingers brush his holster, then stop. He looks at Dorothea. She looks back. Neither blinks. 40 women frozen between them, arms still raised, chemical smell thickening the air. 9, Dorothea says again. I know my rights. Geneva Convention. Article 13. No medical procedure without consent. Hoffman translates. His voice wavers slightly. Brennan's jaw tightens, but his hand drops away from his weapon. The Geneva Convention of 1929 guarantees POWs medical inspection with due regard for modesty and dignity. Dorothea has read it, memorized sections. She never thought she'd use it against Americans. She thought she'd use it against Soviets. Soviet POW camps have a 35% mortality rate. American camps run at 0.15%. Dorothea doesn't know these numbers. If she did, she might not believe them. Sie werden es nicht wagen, mich zu zwingen, nicht vor Zeugen. They won't dare force me. Not in front of witnesses. She's wrong about the forcing, right about the witnesses. Captain Mercer enters through the front door, 38 years old, Career Medical Corps. He's supervised 15,000 POW inspections since D-Day. He's never lost a patient to typhus. He's never lost one to assault either. Stand down, Corporal. Brennan steps back. Mercer walks to Dorothea, slowly, hands visible, like approaching a wounded animal. You're invoking Geneva? Hoffman translates. Dorothea nods. Her chin is high. Her arms are finally lowering. Defiance holds her spine straight. Mercer reaches into his jacket, pulls out a small booklet. Brown leather cover, gold lettering. He holds it up so she can read the spine. Geneva Convention, relative to the treatment of prisoners of war. Article 13, Mercer says. You're right. But Article 15 requires us to provide medical care, and Article 30 requires sanitation measures to prevent epidemics. He opens the booklet, points to a paragraph, hands it to Hoffman. Hoffman reads aloud in German. Dorothea's face changes, not softening, cracking, like ice over deep water. Sie folgen Regeln? Wir wurden trainiert zu glauben, dass sie keine haben. They follow rules? We were trained to believe they have none. The booklet shakes in Hoffman's hands. He hasn't stopped looking at Dorothea's BDM pin. He knows what that symbol means. His grandmother died in a camp run by people who wore variations of that symbol, but he keeps translating, keeps his voice steady, keeps being professional. Dorothea's arms drop to her sides. Her eyes stay fixed on the booklet, like watching scripture burn. Hoffman's hands won't stop shaking. He hides them behind the DDT canister, hopes nobody notices. Ingrid notices. She watches him move down the line, spraying powder into hairlines, muttering German instructions with an accent that sounds like home and exile simultaneously. Every time he finishes with one woman, he whispers something under his breath. Przepraszam. Polish, not German, not English. The word his grandmother taught him before she died. The word that means sorry and forgive me, and I'm trying all at once. 130,000 Polish Americans serve in U.S. forces during the war. Hoffman joined after his cousin sent a letter from Warsaw that stopped mid-sentence. The mail carrier was shot. So was the cousin. So was everyone on that street. 6 million Poles killed between 1939 and 1945, 17% of the entire population, gone. And now Hoffman sprays delousing powder on women who served the army that did it. Hasst uns. Ich sehe es in seinen Augen. He hates us. I see it in his eyes. Renata whispers this to Ingrid. She's not wrong. She's not completely right either. Hoffman reaches Ingrid, raises the canister. His hands steady themselves through force of will. The spray hisses. White powder settles on her dark hair. This will itch for a few hours, he says in German. It's normal. Don't scratch. Why do you keep apologizing? Ingrid's question stops him cold. She heard the Polish word. She doesn't know what it means, but she knows the tone. Hoffman stares at her. Brown eyes meeting gray. Enemy meeting enemy. Except the war already ended for both of them. They just haven't realized it yet. Because speaking your language makes me feel sick, he says, and because you didn't choose to be born where you were born. Neither did I. He moves on before she can respond. The spray hisses again. Another woman powdered, another whispered apology in a dead grandmother's tongue. Brennan watches from the doorway. He doesn't understand what just happened. Doesn't understand the look on Ingrid's face. Something shifting, something questioning. Dorothea stands in the corner, arms crossed now. The Geneva booklet sits on a crate beside her. She hasn't stopped staring at it. The inspection is almost complete. 38 women processed, 2 remaining. Hoffman approaches Dorothea. She doesn't raise her arms, doesn't uncross them. You have to let me. I know. Her voice is hollow. Do it. She lifts her arms, slowly. Like the motion costs her something she can't name. The spray hisses against Dorothea's scalp. She keeps her eyes closed. Hoffman's hands remain steady this time. Then, something happens that nobody expects. Ingrid steps forward, lowers her head, bends at the waist. Not a full bow, more like an acknowledgement. Aimed at Hoffman. The barracks goes silent. Even the wind outside seems to pause. Was Tutsi? Hat sie den Verstand verloren? What is she doing? Has she lost her mind? Renate's whisper carries further than intended. Several women hear it. None of them answer. Hoffman freezes. The canister dangles from his hand. He's seen German prisoners spit at him, curse him, stare through him like he doesn't exist. He's never seen one bow. I don't understand, Ingrid says in careful German, but I'm trying to. 78% of German POWs later reported unexpected humane treatment in Allied surveys. Those surveys happened after the war, after repatriation, after years of processing what happened to them in camps run by enemies who were supposed to be monsters. 3,000 hours of propaganda per average German soldier by 1945. 12% of Wehrmacht women were voluntary enlistees. Ingrid was conscripted. Her father died at Stalingrad. Her mother stopped writing 6 months ago. She has no idea what she's fighting for anymore. Maybe that's why she bows. Maybe she's done believing lies that cost her everything. Hoffman does something he shouldn't. Protocol says, maintain distance. Protocol says, don't personalize. Protocol says these women are enemies until paperwork says otherwise. He nods back. Small motion, barely visible. But Ingrid sees it. So does Brennan. So does Captain Mercer. Dorothea sees it too. Her jaw tightens. Her BDM pin catches the light. But she doesn't say anything. She's staring at the Geneva booklet again, rereading the same paragraph. Article 15. Medical care shall be provided with humanity and respect. Humanity. That word burns. Renata takes a step toward Ingrid, not threatening, questioning, wanting to understand what just passed between a German woman and a Polish-American soldier who should hate each other. Ingrid, later. One word, final. Ingrid turns back to face the wall, arms at her sides, waiting for whatever comes next. The inspection ends. Hoffman secures the DDT canister. Brennan does a final head count. Mercer signs paperwork. Then everyone hears it. The back door. Hinges creaking in the cold. Dorothea is gone. The door swings in the wind. Outside, fresh snow falls on boot prints, heading toward the tree line. The temperature is 12 below zero. 12 below zero. No coat. 5 minutes to hypothermia. Dorothea runs anyway. Her boots punch through crusted snow. Each step sinks ankle deep. The BDM pin is still on her uniform. The Geneva booklet is not. She left it on the crate, left it like leaving a piece of her mind behind. Ingrid reaches the doorway first. Wind cuts her face like glass. She can see Dorothea's silhouette maybe 40 meters out. Stumbling, slowing, the tree line is another 100 meters beyond. What is she doing? Brennan appears beside her. His hand finds his sidearm again. Is she escaping? No. Ingrid's voice is flat. She's dying. Ich habe gesehen, was wir ihnen angetan haben. Ich verdiene nicht, so behandelt zu werden. I saw what we did to them. I don't deserve to be treated this way. Ingrid doesn't speak these words aloud, but she knows them. She knows because she served on the Eastern Front for 3 months before transfer. She knows what happened to Soviet prisoners in German camps. 33% mortality rate. 3.3 million dead. She knows Dorothea served there too, for 2 years. Hypothermia sets in within 10 minutes at -12 Celsius without protection. The body's core temperature drops below 35 degrees. Shivering stops. Confusion sets in, then sleep, then nothing. Renate pushes past Ingrid, runs into the snow without hesitation. 19 years old, glass still in her foot. Running to save a woman who'd called her weak the entire march to capture. "Wait," Brennan starts. "Let them go." Captain Mercer's voice comes from behind, calm, controlled. "Keep visual contact. Don't pursue." Ingrid looks back at him. Mercer's face reveals nothing, but his eyes are watching the tree line. "If she freezes to death, it's a paperwork nightmare," Mercer says. "If we chase her and she resists, it's worse." Ingrid runs. Snow fills her boots. Cold burns her lungs. Ahead, Renate has almost reached Dorothea. The older woman has stopped moving, fallen to her knees. Not from cold. Something else. Ingrid hears it before she sees it. A sound she hasn't heard since she was 9 years old. Before her father left for the front. Before her mother became a ghost, sobbing, raw and broken, like something being torn out by the roots. Dorothea's hands are pressed to her face. Her body shakes, not from hypothermia, from something much older. Ingrid reaches her first, drops to her knees in the snow. "I can't," Dorothea gasps. "I can't understand why they didn't hurt us." 30 years of believing, broken in 30 seconds of kindness. Dorothea's hands won't leave her face. Ingrid kneels beside her. Renate stands behind them, shivering, watching the tree line like she expects wolves. "I reported her," Dorothea says. The words come out shattered. "My cousin, 17 years old. I told the Gestapo she'd been listening to British radio. Sie war meine beste Freundin, und ich habe sie verraten für ein Reich, das mich angelogen hat. She was my best friend, and I betrayed her for a Reich that lied to me. 100,000 Germans denounced family members to the Gestapo during the war. Average informant age, 34. 73% of denunciations came from personal disputes, grudges, jealousy, fear. The remaining 27% believed they were saving the fatherland. Dorothea believed. What happened to her? Ingrid's voice is barely audible over the wind. I don't know. Dorothea's hands finally drop. Her face is wet. Ice already forming on her cheeks. They took her in 1941. I never saw her again. I never tried to find out. Renate's teeth are chattering. Her foot is bleeding again through the bandage. The glass shifted during the run, but she doesn't move. She's watching Dorothea like watching a building collapse. I convinced myself everyone was evil, Dorothea continues. The Soviets, the British, the Americans, everyone. Because if everyone is evil, then I'm not a monster. I'm just surviving. She laughs. Ugly sound. Broken sound. But they're not evil. They just checked us for lice. They didn't touch us. They showed us the rule book. Her voice cracks. How am I supposed to live with what I did when the enemy is more human than I was? Footsteps crunch behind them. Ingrid turns. Brennan is walking toward them, slowly, hands visible. He stops 3 meters away. He doesn't say anything, just unzips his field jacket, takes it off, holds it out. The cold hits his chest immediately. His breath fogs thicker, but he keeps the jacket extended. Dorothea stares at him, at the olive drab fabric that represents everything she was taught to hate. Why? The word is barely a whisper. Brennan doesn't answer. Maybe he doesn't know. Maybe there isn't an answer that fits in any language. Ingrid takes the jacket from his hand, wraps it around Dorothea's shoulders. The older woman doesn't resist. The three of them kneel in the snow, enemy and enemy and enemy, and something else. 12 below zero. An American soldier gives his jacket to a Nazi and waits. The cold cuts through Brennan's shirt. He can feel his muscles seizing. Doesn't matter. He's watching Dorothea's face, watching something happen that he doesn't have a word for. By nightfall, 6 German women wear American jackets. It starts with Brennan. Walsh follows, then Hoffman, then 2 soldiers from the support unit who don't even know the women's names. They just see shivering and respond. Gibt mir seine Jacke. Wird heute Nacht frieren. Für mich. Warum? He gave me his jacket. He will freeze tonight. For me. Why? The question circulates through the barracks, whispered between bunks, passed like contraband. U.S. Army issued 2.3 million field jackets in the European theater. Average replacement cost, $12.50 in 1945. That's $213 today. 0 disciplinary actions filed for comfort sharing with POWs. Captain Mercer doesn't reprimand his men. He requisitions more blankets, signs the paperwork himself. Renate sits on her bunk while a medic extracts glass from her foot. Private Collins, 21, from Wisconsin. He works slowly, carefully, uses tweezers that look older than he is. How long has this been in there, he asks. 3 days? Her German accent makes the English clumsy. Maybe 4. Collins shakes his head. Doesn't say anything about infection risk. Doesn't need to. The 4 shards of green glass speak for themselves. Ingrid watches from across the barracks. She's wearing Brennan's jacket now. He gave it to her after she helped carry Dorothea back inside. The wool smells like tobacco and machine oil. It's the warmest she's been in weeks. Dorothea hasn't spoken since the snow. She sits in the corner. Walsh's jacket draped over her shoulders, eyes focused on nothing. Her BDM pin is gone. Ingrid saw it fall during the walk back, saw Dorothea notice, saw her keep walking. It's probably buried now, under fresh snow, under everything it used to mean. The barracks door opens. Captain Mercer enters with a clipboard. Hot food in 30 minutes, he announces. Medical checks continue tomorrow, rest tonight. Hot food. When was the last time Ingrid ate something warm? Berlin, maybe, before the bombing started in earnest, before her building became rubble. Renate looks up from her foot, blood on the floor, glass in a tin cup, but her eyes are bright. Ingrid, she whispers, what do we do now? The question hangs in the cold air. Nobody answers. What do you do when everything you believed was a lie? 6 weeks after the inspection, the barracks have transformed, not physically, something deeper. Ingrid works in the medical tent now, volunteer, unpaid. She folds bandages, sorts supplies, translates for new prisoners who arrive terrified, expecting the same monsters she expected. Lift your arms. Don't move. She hears it every day, watches the fear, watches it dissolve into confusion, watches confusion become something like trust. 340 German women POWs volunteered for Allied medical support by May 1945. Average repatriation time, 8 months. 91% of German women POWs returned to their families. The men took longer, labor assignments. Ich kann nicht rückgängig machen, was ich getan habe, aber ich kann wählen, wer ich jetzt bin. I cannot undo what I did, but I can choose who I am now. Dorothea writes letters every night, the same letter, different words each time. To the cousin she reported 4 years ago, Hoffman translates them. He never says anything about the content, never asks why she writes to someone who might be dead. He just turns German grief into English words and mails them through Red Cross channels. The response arrives in April. Dorothea's hands shake when she opens it. The paper is thin, the handwriting unfamiliar, not her cousin's. Her cousin's mother, still alive, still living in the same apartment outside Munich. The Gestapo dismissed the denunciation in 1941. Insufficient evidence. The cousin was released after 48 hours. She's alive, married now, teaching school in Heidelberg. She doesn't want contact with Dorothea, not yet. Maybe not ever. But she's alive. Dorothea doesn't cry when she reads this. She's done crying. She sits in the corner with the letter pressed to her chest, eyes closed, breathing. Renate's foot has healed. The scars will stay forever. Pink lines where green glass used to live. She works beside Ingrid now, learning English words, teaching German ones. Collins visits the barracks sometimes, officially to check on patients, unofficially to practice his terrible German with women who laugh at his pronunciation. Brennan got promoted. Sergeant now. He still nods at Ingrid when they pass. Doesn't say much. Never did. Repatriation orders arrive in June 1945. Lists posted outside the command tent. Names checked off one by one. Ingrid finds her name on the third page. Transport scheduled for August. 2 months. That's all the time she has left here. She doesn't want to leave. Not yet. There's something she needs to do first. She lifts her arms again. This time, she chooses to. August 1945. New transport arrives. 43 women. Same fear Ingrid remembers from January. Same propaganda poisoning their expectations. Same frozen terror when the American soldiers enter the barracks. Lift your arms up high. Don't move. The words come from Ingrid now. German to German. Prisoner to prisoner. Except she's not a prisoner anymore. Not really. She holds the flashlight. The same model Brennan used 8 months ago. Same cold metal weight. Different meaning entirely. This is a medical inspection, she says. They're checking for lice. They will not touch you. They will not hurt you, I promise. Hebt eure Arme hoch. 6 Worte, die uns brachen. 6 Worte, die uns heilten. Lift your arms up. 6 words that broke us. 6 words that healed us. Anneliese, 20, from Hamburg, stares at Ingrid with wide eyes. You're German, yes? But you're helping them. Yes? Ingrid doesn't explain further. Doesn't need to. The explanation will come in pieces, over weeks, through flashlight inspections and DDT powder and hot meals and jackets offered without conditions. 375 German women, POWs, requested delayed repatriation to continue volunteer work. Ingrid processed 1,200 prisoners before leaving in September. She taught them what she learned, the hard way. Brennan watches from the doorway, same position he held in January, different rank on his collar, different understanding in his eyes. He doesn't nod at Ingrid, he salutes. Small gesture, probably against protocol. He does it anyway. Dorothea left in July. She didn't say goodbye to anyone, just walked to the transport truck with the letter from her cousin's mother pressed against her heart. Her BDM pin stayed buried in Belgian snow. Her guilt stayed with her. But something else came with it, something that might become redemption. Renate left in August, same transport as Ingrid. They sat together for the train ride through France, didn't talk much, didn't need to. 2017. Brennan's grandson finds Ingrid's granddaughter on Facebook. They meet in Dresden, drink coffee, look at photographs from a war neither of them lived through. The flashlight is in a museum now. Label reads, Medical Inspection Equipment, POW Camp 117, Belgium, 1945. It doesn't mention the fear, the confusion, the breaking and rebuilding. It's just a flashlight. But Ingrid knew what it meant. In war, the smallest gestures, a flashlight held with care instead of violence, can mean the difference between enemy and human. 6 words, arms raised, everything changed.